happens here. The betrayal. Anyway, since nothing is happening, by the way, is the sound good? Is it okay? Do you hear the people singing the song of the angry man? It is the music of the people who burn out me. Slaves again. Hi, can you hear me? Great. Okay, then, since nobody's here, how about I run something I've been how long have been? I didn't talk much, thankfully, but for some time, maybe. Anyway, I want to have to make stuff smaller. Anyway, since no one is here, how about I run something I've been basically jotting down. Yeah, getting stood up getting ghosted. I'm collecting all the rejections they think they give, didn't have the chance to give. Yeah, Rami is traveling. So he's like the most consistent, my partner in crime. So we have what we have. Anyway, here's what I have been writing down. So, the point is kind of you'll never be optimized. Um, so, looks maxing is the biggest part of it, I would say. So, the idea of looks maxing is that you can ascend to a higher tier by visually improving yourself. The tiers and the standards are quite rigid. They are Eurocentric features, rooted in white supremacies. Wait till I get my legs broken and stretch. I'll kill it when the lady's done. You need to have at least one lady around you to kill it with at least one lady. It's kind of hard to kill it with ladies when there are no ladies in your vicinity. Anyway, so looks maxing allows you to ascend to a higher tier by getting close to very particular Eurocentric beauty standards that are kind of rooted in white supremacies, the history of colonization. You know how they say being Indian is basically it's over being Asian too. Like there's just be white, this kind of thing. Yes, it's in South Speak, but this is still looks maxing. They go together. The ideas are the same. But the thing is, obviously, not everyone's taste will match. The idea would be that you can try to get as many people attracted to you as you can through the through the upgrading the looks. Makes sense. I read people in India using skin whitening creams as that is associated with Eurocentric beauty standard. Yeah, in all Asian countries actually skin whitening is a big thing. They are often very colorist. Hi Solo! Will you bring us your insight on what to watch? I was trying to look for an old Blackpink documentary I liked, but I think it got taken down on YouTube. I was on the lookout for things to maybe watch, but my algorithm is just VTubers at this point. And this is a good thing. Maybe something else then if it's not this documentary. I mean, you seem quite um, educated is not the word. An erudite, this is a word in English, right? In Russian, эрудированный. So someone who has knowledge on it enough to be fluent. So yeah, your suggestions. While we were waiting, I was um, talking about the idea, what I was writing down for another video. Are you digging in your library? The Library of Alexandria. We can watch something that's not on YouTube if you want, if you think it's the points are strong. At some point, maybe a documentary about early literatures would be interesting, but would have to pick one that is actually good and not long form YouTube slow. Have you seen the YouTube commentary videos or something? YouTube commentary is kind of bad. Great video. At some point, there's a book Overcoming the Black Pill by Martin Goldberg that I recommend. Well, we're not gonna read the book online. Do you want us to find something that would be worth watching that is not on YouTube? We can do that. We're not in a hurry. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I'll keep brainstorming. To be honest, you kind of exposed me because there's not like one essential black pill video that I usually refer people to. Well, we're not in a hurry to, have the most sufficient video. We just need some points that are worth discussing, that's all. You see, like, the point of me doing this is that I want to be able to refute the points that people in black pill find strong, because I find that generally they are not strong. Let's just say that. Okay, let's look at what you suggested. Substract code neuron spill. Healthy gamer rehab. Oh, maybe we should see rehab and healthy gamer that you talked about. The dark world of unrealistic mailbag. Good video, but it's anti-black pill. We need black pill. This is what I want to talk about. I don't need something that would agree with me. Unhealthy gaslighter. Okay. Exploiting hopelessness. There's a lot. I mean, reasonable. I think we should choose the new one, right? You're being too agreeable where there's nothing to agree with. You don't need to, find something nice and pleasant and polite or anything. I need, the most not aggressive. I won't be able to be aggressive. I haven't taken notes on them or anything, sorry.
I'm telling you, you need...
I need to turn on. So, exploiting hopelessness.
to look good.
As soon as Dr. K made his most recent video, several people wanted me to talk about it. Actually, I was planning another video for this week, but whatever. I have gotten so many DMs, emails, comments.
Okay, so there's Healthy Gamer video thirst. Do you think we should watch it? Or is it okay, as it is? I think I will go and sign up for a gym tomorrow. I mean, I've talked to you about my leg, but I think it hasn't healed and I kind of just given up. What kind of videos am I looking for? So we're looking for something that would be according to incels, a good, explanation of their points and views, so I could engage meaningfully. You haven't been here in a long time, Mr. Fallout. You have been missed. He'll be reacting to it anyway. Not sure if he might meet parts. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Hi, Capybara. By the way, Capybara, you were mentioning something in the chat that I didn't respond to. This is because I didn't understand it. I read it 3 times. Anyway, so then we are watching Rehab Room's video. I've been pretty busy. I think I missed all the Fallout stuff. Yeah, I think people weren't really interested in the fallout. So on Sunday it will be no, I'm not a human. Anyway, let's go. Black pill.
And so I decided to check it out. And what I am gonna say might surprise some of you. But honestly, guys, I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I feel like maybe people looked at the title and the thumbnail and reacted based on that. Guys, you gotta understand something. People like Dr. K, who make videos, who do YouTube content for a living, and not for a cause, not for a fight, will always use provocative thumbnails and titles. Whatever gets them the most clicks. That is all that matters to them.
Objection. People who do this for a cause will still use clickbait titles because they still need to ride the algorithm. This doesn't mean that this is misrepresenting what they're talking about. I think some of my titles, I mean, I haven't mastered the algorithm. I don't even put out videos, but I also try to do titles that are somewhat clickbaity. Even though, I'm as genuine as it goes, and I have listened to Matt Bernstein podcast. The journalists he often has on his podcast are very knowledgeable and reasonable, but they also understand that they too need to be somewhat clickable. So they have to post stuff like "it's over," even if it's annoying. Criticizing someone for algorithm optimization, and that is part of the job, is dumb. Sorry. Reasonable. I genuinely hate clickbaits, and I used to just skip whatever used it, but now that I understand that people have no choice but to use clickbaits, I have accepted it. Anyway, without knowing the contents of either video, I can say that there's no need to be clickbait. Black pill genuinely exploits and breeds hopelessness. So I don't think it's for Rami, you're here. We thought you would be away since you're traveling. So we're watching the video on rehab room reacting to Dr. K, healthy gamer. So let's go. I will be mostly listening. That's okay. No problem. I can always keep talking.
But when you watch the video, you quickly realize that it was just a clickbait title. What you think is not actually what he was talking about. He titled the video "How the BP Rabbit Hole Exploits Your Hopelessness," but in reality, what he says in that video, self-improvement. Obsession with success exploits your hopelessness. Tying your self-worth to your environment, trying to run away from your negative thoughts and emotions is what is exploiting your hopelessness. But of course, he went with a provocative title instead to get views and people riled up. But even though his title actually was not he was talking about, I will address the title as well. Because there is an accusation we face at times. People telling me, "Oh dude, Rehab, you are just setting up a pity party. Just because you are not successful with women, you don't want these guys to be happy either. It is just a pity party." But before rambling too much, I will get to that too, but let me play some clips first.
My understanding of it is that it is a general sense of hopelessness or lack of agency to change your circumstances. It's this sort of learned belief that mating possibilities aren't really there, there's no hope for you, that certain aspects of life, like potentially developing a career, finding happiness, finding a healthy romantic relationship, just aren't an option for you.
A terrible misrepresentation by Dr. K. Sadly, at this point, we are not even surprised by this mischaracterization of the BP. They say, oh, BP is the belief that it is over, unshakable
Before he finishes his sentence, do you disagree with it? Because my impression with how many months, probably a year, I spent learning about incels, that is the point. It's over. It's black pill. The color of hopelessness. I'm aghast. Okay. I'm waiting for your feedback. Is it true or not? I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my. Imagine if Solo just left a key pressed. Okay, I think it depends on community and the quality of the black pill discourse. I can see how basic lookism and understanding of shifting dating hierarchical patterns isn't inherently doomer, but a lot of black pillers, especially younger, less experienced one, jump to fatalistic conclusions without nuance. I think its failure to be embraced by conventional institutions is the reason why it's fallen so far into the abyss. What is the difference between black pill and absolute doomerism and belief that for certain people there is no hope in dating, or that there's so little hope, such small chances, then it's, what's the word? It's not worth taking into account. That market location, number of attempts, luck, and other individual skills matter and can outweigh statistical trends. I'm not sure what you mean by can outweigh statistical trends. It can really case dependent. What you say has nothing black pill about it. This is just the normie view. Universe has randomness, yeah. Statistical trend meaning indicators of date making that demonstrate matching maybe that demonstrate lookism and other selectivity markers. Depends on if you see the black pill as a sliding scale. Black pill would not exist if it was, well, in the way it is, if it was a sliding scale, I think. Especially like this guy, Rehab Room. What he says is, what was this? Ethnicity, height, neurodivergency, and looks are 4 horsemen. We're seeing it as set in stone, like looks, marks of heart is the direct solution to black pill problems. Is it me? I don't understand what's being said. The market location, number of attempts, luck, and other individual skills matter and can outweigh indicators of date making that demonstrate lookism and other selectivity markers. Okay, you mean that there is still hope if you try enough? Rami, if you can weigh in as an elder in our conversation, maybe you could help me make sense of it. There are 2 kinds of people with black pill. One who take it in a doomer way, i.e. it's over for me, versus the ones who take it as a scope of improvement. For some, yes, but it's a matter of whether the juice is worth the squeeze. Every individual is different. The ones who take it as a scope of improvement. As far as I can tell, black pill does not welcome improvement at all. I feel like we're not being genuine here. You need to start typing to just to, make everyone type. There could be a good joke. I didn't make one, sorry. Depends on the definition of black pill. I understand it as physical attraction is the major soul factor in sexual attraction. Black pill is about acceptance, not improvement. Yes, as I said, improvement is not in the picture. I can keep tabs with every black pill content creator. I'm sure some encourage fatalism, but I know Rehab doesn't even say that. He does! What's his tagline? It comes to collect. There was a guy, I remember, on debate incels that was like, Rehab Room is the prophet. Black pill always comes to collect, maybe? What do you mean, that guy? I'm pretty sure it was a teenager. Or like, what, maybe he was 21. He was a headache for us. So, I think it's not black pill always comes to collect. No, there was something different. with the point being like it's not even worth trying. Maybe I can find it in my Reddit comments. Don't be a free agent in your life. That's right. Bro talked about black pill like he's spreading the gospel. Yeah, remember, God, this post from Inkwell that I shared that is genuinely cult behavior. Like, even if you've been in relationships, you can still go back to black pill. Wild stuff. The black pill is just biological determinism. It's the view that no matter what you do, you're doomed to fail because you are inherently deficient in whatever quantities you need to succeed. There's no real room for improvement if you accept the black pill. This is the general statement I see. And even if you like pick people out of these communities and corner them individually, they might start saying there is the leeway, but the general view is there is not, and they don't behave like there is. That is true. Even if I were to ascend, I would still be black pilled. By the way, Fallout friend said whether you want to be depressed about it or not is up to you. Okay, so Rami, I wouldn't call myself a full incel though, more like Boston. So like Rami said, you can accept black pill, but my definition of fatalism is that you completely check out of society and not do anything. I don't think Rehab directly encourages that. When he says it always comes to collect, it's that certain moments of your life will show you a symptom of black pill, but it's not always to the extent that life is always bad for everyone and nothing is worth doing. This is just nihilism, which is common. What you're saying is it's common in black pilled people, and it usually actually leads to this. But it's not necessary. But it's so not always. Yeah, he's referring to more to blue pillars who can deny black pill exists completely. But of course, Rahab is not here to clarify, so I admit I'm just assuming as well. Okay, I will try to keep tabs on it so I can catch when he says that there is no hope, because he will say it, I'm pretty sure. Fatalism is just believing there is something that you do not have control over, like, and this is fate defining. Not a good explanation for me. I will not try to argue it.
Believe that it is ours. First and foremost, for all the oofy-doofies, the BP is not a belief. It is not an ideology. That is the first thing that people gotta understand. It doesn't tell you how to live your life. The BP is a bit of thinking system, critical thinking system.
That is belief. The worldview. Why so many incels argue that inceldom or black pill is not a belief? It is, most certainly. I think being a belief creates a door that they would not like to see, that this belief may be wrong, but it being the truth is kind of defining here. So they cannot, accept that it is something not, as certain.
Based on the objective information. It often can lead to an uncomfortable truth, but that is the thing, it is easy to accept it when it is an information that you want to hear. That is why we often talk about uncomfortable, darker shades of the truth, because that is what people don't talk about, that you don't see people bringing up. But at the end of the day, the BP is not some ideology or any type
It is ideology.
of emotional investment like hate. And it is
Not necessarily hate, but it is emotional investment in resentment. Despair is emotional investment.
not even only looks either. Looks only a part of it.
And a lot of people will look at black pillars and kind of say, like, if you tried harder or if you tried this kind of thing, maybe your life would be different. They'll get a lot of advice like put yourself out there, or they'll even get advice like work on yourself, fix yourself first, learn to be happy alone before you try to be happy in a relationship. So what do we need to do? We need to stop doing the action that leads to this outcome. We need to stop paradoxically trying to fix our lives and start by fixing ourselves. And so a lot of well-meaning people will give black
What did
pillars
this mean? Why was there a cut?
kind of advice.
He is right here. People condition you to try harder without fixing the realities at first. The realities on the ground. And then they expect a different outcome. Because in their minds, the reality is different. Imagine a 6162 guy who was born into a well-connected, higher-class family, and he's thinking, you just need to study harder. They can't look at it from other angles. They can't see it from your perspective and evaluate it objectively.
And many of the black pillars that I've worked with,
But the same is true for him. He cannot evaluate it objectively. When he says objective reality, there are two parts: statistics, research studies, and own experiences. Statistics, research studies get manipulated. Own experiences are not objective reality. I don't remember if I talked about. So there's this thing I learned about it. I think it's called phantasm, which is, a cognitive mistake that takes what we feel and makes us believe this is reality. Like, if you feel someone wanted to hurt you, that means they wanted to hurt you. This, I didn't know it was so common because I lived with the awareness that my reality isn't, well, what I perceive isn't always true. But maybe it's because I have my personality disorder that obviously influences how I see reality, plus I need to account for, depression, anxiety, and sometimes like delusions, magical thinking, that all of those, I understand, distort my understanding of reality. We lost someone. We lost Cappy.
with are people who have worked really, really, really hard to try to put together their lives. The problem is that the harder they work, the more rejection and failure they experience, and therefore the more hopeless they become.
Bingo. When you try to fix these on fake information, when you try to build a house on sand, the result is gonna be inevitable. That is why I always say, man, what they do is
What the fuck is that?
dangerous. Giving false hope is worse than keeping it real. People say, oh bro, Riyab, isn't it better to give people hope? Hamza was saying that. Bro, like, of course it is better to be more positive. If, only if it is a reasonable hope. If it is a feasible, realistic hope. If you give them fake hope on false premises, you are setting them up for further inevitable disappointments. And in the long run, you are doing them a much bigger disservice and harm, actual, effective harm. Sure.
This is him saying there is no hope. Just using other words, he says that we should not let people believe they have a chance if they don't have it, because it will hurt them.
In the short term, you made them feel better. Not necessarily made their lives better. Pay attention here. You made them feel better. But in the long term, medium to long term, you're gonna make their lives worse. But it doesn't even matter, does it? As long as they get paid. As long as they sign up for your Hogwarts Academy. Or anyone can become a 10 out of 10 through plastic surgeries. Giving enough budget, enough big of a budget, anyone can become a 10. These people...
I noticed it with myself when I put out in soul coaching that people think it's necessarily a gift, because either you do something for free, you believe in it, it's your calling, or you do it just for money. Like, this is a false dichotomy. It reminds me of when our Russian Premier Minister Medvedev had people, teachers, come to him and complain about having low salaries, and their salaries were like the lowest in the country, absolutely abysmal, teachers and doctors. And what this genius politician said, if you work as a teacher, you need it to be your calling. You need to be ready to work for cheap. And if you don't want, just become a businessman. Besides becoming a businessman, being very stupid advice, people need to live, and to live they need to have money. Also, if people dedicate a whole lot of their time to something, they need to get something for this effort, because we cannot survive on goodwill, especially in capitalism.
People exist, even in this part of the town, unfortunately. So you can say that Dr. K has got a point here. You know, there are some people who exploit your hopelessness, who want you to keep running into that wall. There is definitely a group, an industry exploiting male loneliness and hopelessness. And I would even say Dr. K is actually one of them. These group of people who take advantage of male loneliness.
Again, what we see is he thinks just because Dr. K gets money for it, he's not genuine. But thinking that, I've already made my point. Why am I repeating myself?
Gonna pay what? How much was it? 600, 700 to be in a Discord call from some guy who graduated from, Health Gamer Academy. That is how it is, guys. That is how it is.
The problem with this exercise is that it is part of an obstacle course, right? So it's not like you just do these 3 and then you're done. There are tons of exercises or obstacles that you have to go through. You have to climb to the top of a rope. So by the time I get to this part, I am exhausted. Swung my leg up hard, because when you're really tired, you have to have a burst of energy and toss your leg up over it. And my kneecap slammed into the wood. I'm exhausted. My legs are tired. And then I try to get over the third one, and I try once and I try again, and my legs just won't go over. I can lift myself up, but then that gets a little bit weaker. And every attempt that I make makes it harder for the next attempt to succeed.
Keep in mind here that this is a physical test he is talking about. He says that when he gets tired, it is going to be harder. But guys, it is worse, much worse, when it is psychological. The toll it takes on your soul is worse than what exercising to the extreme does to your body. After
Just saying, exercising to the extreme also does a lot to your mental health, and exercising to the extreme actually kills people. A little bit of a self-centered look. Just flashbacks from when I was in school. I was doing volleyball, and we would do summer sports camp, and our trainer, our coach, was abusive and just not well in the head. Obviously, all coaches think they have the obligation to insult people. Like, she would take away our food. She made us do rolls, when you roll over your head, on gravel. That summer, we all brought, what is human fleas, in your hair. We all brought it together because we couldn't always get to the shower. And one time when she was especially offended at us, she made us run in circles for 2 hours. Yeah. She was an insane woman. Lies, yes. It's the same as paying sex worker for sex. If they say they are in the love of the game, why are they asking for money? As I said, because we need money to survive. Why I'm asking the money. I would love to do this for free. I cannot. I need to pay for my health. Again, for the teachers, why do they need money if they love children and aspire to study, to teach children? But the most passionate teachers that try to survive on pennies burn out thirst. They burn out the hardest. It sounds horrible. Military service here was not even that bad. You are not built for the post-USSR countries. Worst we got was running until someone threw up. Ooh, this is disgusting though. This is also terrible. No one threw up for us. Also, the coach went into her little house so we could, stop. Do you hear it? No. So, a big part is dramatization that is not on point. She did take away my food, by the way. The gymnasts had it the worst. They had 4 training sessions a day. We only had 3, and the first one was just hitting, the ball at 7:45 a.m. So we would just brush our teeth quickly and go hit the ball for I don't know, half an hour. They were training more time in the day that they were not. They were deprived of food, and they, you know, both years we went there, or maybe it was 3 years, I don't remember. We would always share food with them because they didn't get to do it. You know, figure skaters and gymnasts get treated abhorrently. Terrible stuff.
Exercising a lot to the max. The next day, or a couple days at max, right? Your body's gonna recover. You are gonna.
No, you might actually die from it. You might die from a heart attack. 35, the person who, the athlete's life is over, work is over, they are done.
Feel as if nothing ever happened, right?
I mean, I'm talking about constant time, right? But even as physically, if you even exercise to the max, once you may pull something and not be fine with it. So this is not an adequate dismissal of the analogy.
Back to normal, but the effects of rejections and humiliations on your soul and spirit and mindset is gonna be felt much after. In some cases, forever. And also another thing to keep in mind, guys, he said.
Yeah, by the way, in our volleyball team for some time there was a girl who hurt her knee so bad she needed to do surgery, you know? So this is... Why is he like this? You need to ask if the statements he says with such confidence reflect reality, because they do not. He just doesn't know shit.
Is that this is his BP example, but the truth is
Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Yeah, okay, I'll let him make his
he
argument.
faced the BP most likely many times in much brutal forms. Those memories were so brutal for him. He buried them deep, so deep that he can't even consciously remember.
I kind of noticed something weird. So when
I want to, you know, say something. So, there was, you know, the worst thing she can say is no, and then there are men showing, you know, experiences of rejections that are meaner, you know, the words of rejections that were much worse. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you even hear me? Are you there? Okay, great. So do you know what I'm talking about? 1 second. Okay, where should we? how it actually went for you. Seeing a screenshot of my message I just sent, followed by a text saying, "Well, look what he said." Now you're probably wondering what disgusting thing did I say. I had a lot of fun. Did you enjoy yourself? This one fucked with me for a while. Damn, I'm sorry, man. What do you guys think? How bad is that? Well, I'm sure there have been worse reactions than all, like laughing at the guy's face or gossiping with others, but I saw this one where this guy casually touched the girl's shoulder in a platonic way and she shrieked as if she was disgusted by being touched by this male organism. First, let's talk about what you said. Why do you think it was because she was disgusted by this male organism? Do you see no other options? I had extreme social anxiety in school. I was scared of the touch. My mom once tried to hug me, and I had this same exact reaction. That's why even if they were friends, I would not hug or touch anyone. I can try looking for the clip later. Yeah, okay. But also, like, this is an instant of a guy touching a girl's shoulder. I don't know what the situation is, but you can also shriek if, say, you felt suddenly cold. The reaction would be similar probably. Or like, why is it male organism? Maybe it's just him. There are many other explanations that are just as valid, or maybe even more valid than what you say. But anyway, so you see, what's wrong with men say this, repeating, the worst she can say is no. The funny thing is that I come from a culture with no concept of personal space, and is touchy feeling even among strangers. I think people tend to project onto others' reactions how they feel about themselves. Absolutely correct. Not always, but I think it happens a lot. You are right. Anyway, so the problem with this is that it's not the worst thing she can say is no. It's the worst thing she can do is say no. And basically, the worst thing is rejection. For women, because we talk about gender dynamics, right? I don't see my cursor. What's happening? Anyway, for women, it's, you see, not rejection that would be the worst case of interaction with the opposite gender. This is the point of comparison, and they are intentionally or maybe subconsciously changing it. Like, things I've received for rejecting people aren't the worst that women receive. But, like being followed by a car or being threatened is much worse. I had insults hurled at me, it's kind of casual for me, especially considering that, I had this coach of mine who called us retarded too, by the way. Well, not surprising in our culture. Anyway, sorry, it's kind of manufactured victimization that requires you to ignore other people's experiences to, believe in it. She said, slower. I did not say, don't. Okay.
I was growing up, I didn't get any female attention. In college, I tried to get some female attention and it went horribly. The problem is that when we're talking about people who are black-pilled and they start to try to improve their life, the rejection and failures that they end up with actually end up traumatizing them and making it harder to...
I am not sharing my screen with you, right? Sorry. Okay.
And they start to... It went horribly. The problem is that when we're talking about people who are black-pilled and they start to try to improve their life, the rejection and failures that they end up with actually end up traumatizing them and making it harder to succeed again.
I mean, true, it does traumatize people, although not the main cause. The main cause is other factors, external factors. But if you don't really feel like it, when you are, for example, in a job interview, you are anxious and, timid, scared. People are gonna sense that, bro. It is gonna decrease your chances of passing the eye test, even if you have the credentials. Of course, that won't be the primary reason. The primary reason why you wouldn't get hired is lacking the credentials or labor market parameters, right?
Credentials being likable looks, people skill, looks, neurotypicality, and partly skills required.
With women, it is mostly looks, but it does traumatize you, and the fact that you are traumatized shows. People can usually tell. So, Dr.
It reminds me, so recently, I think it was also on debate incels, the guy mentioned that some guy asked out 100 or 500 women from his university and was always rejected. And so they decided that it confirms black pill, it confirms that this was hopeless. I want you to think about his strategy. Is it reasonable to, to judge by his experiences, by this experience of his? Does it represent black pill? The first 1,000 rejections are just a warm-up, bro. Fallout, you can join the server, by the way, so you it would be more comfortable to talk. So, wait a second. Our Fallout friend. Is the link in the QR code? Yes. Or on my channel's page. So, the experiences of the guy who asked out 500 women in his university is somewhat representing. I don't know how he approached the context of those approaches, his traits and skills, etc. But it's definitely not a good sign if 500 women immediately rejected him, not even being open to platonic interactions. But I usually don't think cold approaching is a good idea for the majority of guys. Many women have made it clear that they don't want to be approached by non-gentlemen. Many men have taken this message to heart. Do you really not understand this obvious fact that, beyond 10 girls, there is no chance? It doesn't matter how he looks. What matters is that women are going to tell other women, look, this guy is approaching everyone like a Jehovah's Witness. Are you interested in dating me? Obnoxious. This is not normal. This will not be taken as normal. Context. I don't know how he did it. It doesn't matter. It's from the same university. Don't they say that dating is a numbers game? It is also a not being stupid game. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, if you, dig down, you are not going to get a potato. Like, okay, if there is a field of potatoes that don't show itself, only the potatoes itself, maybe digging and trying to find a potato is a numbers game. But when you dig down to the bedrock, there are no numbers. There's no luck. You have closed the window of opportunity. I wonder how many Jehovah's Witnesses have been told by women, I have a boyfriend. Anyway. So, when I was in uni, I approached my, what's it called? The person who helps you with oversees your coursework, your thesis. Last two women walked up to me and initiated a conversation in public with two missionaries. Your course advisor. Yeah, okay. So my advisor, I came to her and it was around the time of the lesson of the other class. And sometime later on social media, a girl from this class tells me that a guy asked my number from my advisor, and my advisor gave my number to him, and she warned that he approaches girls just like that. So he's not being picky. So if he reaches out, I already know, no, something is wrong with you. You have no, interest. If a person approaches 500 women. He is a salesman. Not a dating opportunity. Do you not recognize it? Let's flip the switch. Imagine a woman approaches, let's pick the worst option for, an average man, approaches women in the same university for marriage. Let's say 10 guys, 50 guys. Is it a numbers game until someone says yes? According to Red Pill, yes, it is. We're not talking about Red Pill. We are talking about you and what you think about your judgment. So, do you think there would be a chance? Like, if it's someone not quite sane, sure. But a person who is not insane is not going to say yes. This could be scary. Obviously, someone who does this is not making a reasonable decision. They are not okay. I'm just, a little bit, not a little bit, I'm shocked at you guys not realizing that, past a much smaller number, there was no chance any longer. Because he has become infamous, notorious. I don't know. After a while, with all the rejections, I have accepted my fate. We are not talking about this. We are talking about the situation that unfolded. You are connecting it to your experience, understandable, but you provide judgment not on the situation, but on your experience. In a sense, you're trying to predict the argument, I would say. But I'm not gonna say, you should try. Do it again. Just do it differently. No, that's not my point. My point is that the guy who was doing this was being stupid. And, despair makes us stupid. So, understandable. Anyway, there's this phrase: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I think an issue is that dating apps, bars and clubs, which are often popular date matching forums, are pretty flawed, so maybe a guy mistakenly resorts to cold approaches thinking they have more control. Ideally, there'd be better ways to coed socialization, but in my university those other sources weren't as popular. third spaces, the ones that are not home and not work. The third spaces, the places where you could socialize. In our country, speaking before the war, of course we would inevitably end up talking about the war, at least mentioning it. So anyway, McDonald's would be a place to hang out. You just, buy the meal, chill with your friends. It's not the same anymore. First of all, they became too costly. Second of all, even the spaces to be there got reduced. Sometimes, tables are not there anymore, or it's an uncomfortable place to stay in, or, just drive-thrus. University clubs aren't really a thing here, which I think is kind of a shame. Yeah. While you're typing, I'll say that, with the code approach, my problem is that I do not know if a person is worth my time and effort at all. Obviously it's not looks. I don't know what they believe in, their views, how they behave, how they present themselves. Also, unfortunately, I think as co-ed interactions have declined, a lot of women might assume a guy who platonically approaches them, I suppose, is immediately gaming rather than leaving it open for either platonic or eventual romantic pathway, when it's more normalized as it was historically before thorns. The motives are less suspected of being interior. No, it's always been ulterior. Yeah. I assume you're using your phone to type. So the ulterior motive has always been expected. Vroom. Imagine if you don't hear the cars and I'm just saying this out of nowhere. Anyway, there are ways to approach, but even you need to first of all recognize that most people do not want to be approached, period, point blank, no addition. They just don't want to be approached. When they are out in the public, no matter how you look or who you are, especially if they have headphones on. Second, there are different ways to approach. Online, offline. If a man comes up to a woman, approaches a woman saying, "You're beautiful," immediately they most likely do not care. They might not even think you're beautiful. They might not like you. They might just have ulterior motive, because most of the men who start with this "you're beautiful" comment, the most generic comment possible, I don't think many women now can take this specific word beautiful as sincere. Well, I think with context it works better. Like if you are at a bookstore and you see a woman holding a book, you say, I've read that book before, I recommend it. That's more about what I'm referring to, but people don't go out as much anymore for that stuff because of Amazon. An interesting thought, I guess. But I just think in most cases people are not outside looking for any kind of human relationship besides, the most simple have a nice day, a smile, and that's it. They used to say that it was okay to approach in bookstores. Then pickup artists started approaching in bookstores and ruined that. We, by the way, had a wave of pick-up artists grabbing women, groping their asses because a pickup artist told them that this is also a number game. Just start groping women, and eventually one of them will agree to have sex with you. And one of the guys got caught, filmed on the video, and sentenced, which is good. I have nothing to add really. I never ask anyone out, but I wanted to say the Discord link expired. Oh, sorry. I will just send you the link. Here are 30 days guarantee for the link. Anyway, all the smart women who care about personality are at the bookstore, bro. Then pickup artists have no business being there. I haven't been to Barnes and Nobles in ages. Oh, hi! We've got our follower 2277. So what we were talking about. By the way, if you guys open my stream in the background, it would also help me. It would be very nice. You scared him off. Let's continue, I guess, since I'm getting sleepy.
Kay has got a point here. When you are traumatized, it takes its toll on you. It does impact you. It is not about how you interpret the trauma. And guys, also notice, Dr. K is often repeating this Alfred Adler's teleology in his other videos. Oh, the trauma doesn't exist. It is all in your head. It is all about what you make out of a trauma. It is not...
Well, psychological trauma is in your head, because this is where you are. You are inside your head, living, kind of. But like what psychologists talk about is changing the mindset to something that will be less harmful for you. You are, in fact, in your head. Your thinking changes your brain. This is what psychologists talk about. Like, just how depression is also kind of in your head, where you are, and it actually affects your brain chemistry. Like, we do not have all the information about how our brains work, but we can see the outcome of different, views. I mean, this is what I'm talking about all the time. The lens through which you see affects your view on life and your satisfaction with life. Also, on debate incels, there was a guy who said, like, he approached two girls, tried, to get to know them. They rejected him, like, just said, yeah, sorry, no. And he decided that that's it. That's, humiliation. How is it brutal? Two girls outside, chilling together. Some stranger approached them. It hasn't even started. It's like, if you were a car salesman, you do not approach people at the club trying to sell a car. Maybe you will have luck, but you probably will not. Like, this is not a place where you should expect a good outcome. I read the guy's post later. I don't know his stats or anything. Is he an RPG character? Maybe it's over for him, maybe not. It doesn't matter. What matters is this situation. Toxic negativity and toxic positivity can both exist, yeah? No doubt, not the conversation. You see? It doesn't matter if he looks like Apollo came down from Olympus, or if he is the most heinous being on earth. Either way, like, little bit of difference in probability. Both should expect to be rejected in this situation, because this situation is not for meeting other people. Like, when I was at the gym, a girl approached me to befriend me, and we did become friends. But in this case, this situation had me worry, because this is not a place where you meet people. I've also seen girls and even guys who I'd like to approach in gym, but it's not the place. Did it start with small talk, or did she immediately explain how she was interested? She said she likes my shirt and that she, just moved to the city, and kind of a little bit of small talk, yeah. And then she explained that she doesn't have friends in this city, and she wanted to meet someone, and I had cool shirt, and she decided that our vibes match. Vibes is a great explanation. Maybe a bit inconvenient for the gym goer. Off topic, but head jester has to post a fit check sometime. I need to go to the gym more. Then I will be back to being able to go to the gym and get out of the country. Somewhere deep in my comments there was a photo of my feet. I don't remember if I deleted it. Maybe a bit inconvenient for the gym goer, but I don't think it's completely unreasonable. Maybe she was better asking online or attending a group session. I do not say that it is unreasonable. I'm just saying that this is not a place where people come because they want to meet someone. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have those places anymore, or much of them. But it's normal for people not to be very open to meeting people, especially outside. I don't know, I feel like it used to be more socially acceptable to approach and talk to strangers in the past. I do think so. It's kind of become less, so people just aren't social. That's true, yeah. Increased introversion is bad for both sides. How do Russian dog sounds? In Spanish they go how, ho, ho. Guff, guff. It's our woof. Guff. Yeah. Da. By the way, I've been getting increased critique of my English, which is not that much increased, like from East and to more people recently. And at least in 2 cases, it was with the intention to hurt me. Why the fuck is this your choice, knowing it's not my first language? I can speak 2 foreign languages and read, 3, 4 more. I mean, in Japanese I only learned hiragana, but still, it's just kind of troll. He's not good at handling negative emotions. Honest opinion, in the interest of helping you sound more clear. You are providing your opinion, okay, sure. Is this mean bipolar? Bipolar is a diagnosis, you cannot say that. I don't think he's a complete idiot. I never said that. This was not on the table. I think, Salo, you're often like doing leaps when you think. You move from one point to another. Either you verbalize it or not. You connect different thoughts, which I understand. I do that a lot. I did it especially before I was long enough on my current medical help. Your English is very good, thank you. You still have an accent, but at least you're pretty fluent. But sometimes, due to the language barrier, I struggle with trying to understand your questions, because you word them in a way that isn't natural to English. Interesting. I think I just have caffeine addiction and I don't get to talk much IRL. Then you should talk more with us. And that's why we're here. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I kind of gave up on trying to get rid of my accent because I thought, what kind of accent would I want to acquire? Like, there's British English, there's American, different Americans in English. I feel like compared to the first video of yours I watched, your English sounds better. Thank you. It's not because I studied more. It's just about being comfortable, and because the first video you watched was probably less defined insults. This was a hard watch. I would not watch it myself. It was kind of meant for people who would watch it in the background. Yeah, this is not a bearable video to watch. And I totally understand that I will need to remake it one day. Anyway, what we were talking about. You know, please, when the next time when I ask a question in a way that is worded in a natural way to English, please tell me. I would like to know that. I didn't think about that before. I won't get rid of your accent, maybe just got to learn word structure. Is my word structure bad? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Sentence structure? Still, what do you mean by that? Maybe it's just the cadence. Sometimes keywords aren't emphasized enough, very much likely. I mean, English intonation. Like I said, sometimes you phrase things in a way that sounds nonsensical in English. I cannot imagine what you're talking about. You will need to point it out in the future every time you can, even if you think it's inappropriate. Please do. The cadence, yeah, it's not natural to English. It is not very natural to Russian too. I mean, it's a little bit unnatural to Russian, how I say. Oh, an example that I noticed a long time ago. Great. I wanted to ask for example. I didn't think you'd have one. One moment. I remember on a gaming stream when you asked me why I was learning Russian. Suspense. You asked me, what are you learning Russian, rather than why are you learning Russian for? You mean, I think it's either what are you learning Russian for, or why are you learning Russian? No? it would be the lighter. Why are you learning Russian for? Is this a valid question, grammatically correct? Are you are you a native speaker? How did you like my pronunciation of your nickname? I speak better English than Spanish because I grew up bilingual, spent my childhood in California. Okay, and then I wouldn't word it like that. What are you learning Russian for? Yeah, or why are you learning Russian? That's what I'm saying. Either of those. Chicano Spanish is a lot easier for me to understand than Mexican Spanish. What is Chicano Spanish? Puerto Rican Spanish? Chicano is like Mexican American who immigrated to California specifically. Or Arizona, Texas. So like the South? Would that be the South? I really need to work on my Spanish. I'm still a lovely monolingual. Am I collecting American Latino people in my server? Puerto Rican Spanish sounds unintelligible, yeah, to list other Spanish speakers, to most other Spanish speakers, because we like to contract words and use a lot of English loan words. They have evolved to the point that they sound unintelligible to both English and Spanish speakers. Don't worry too much, it won't likely impress the Latinas unless you're white, maybe. Being a no sub kid sucks. Maybe I'm related. No, I just live in Texas. Spanish would be useful to know. I'm gonna call you are you white? Where's that name? You can't just ask people why they're white. See, okay. Also because my family... Are you also, by the way, are you neurotypical or not? Or neurodivergent? Also because my family is from the southern part of the island, we pronounce our words with a bit of French way because of all the French immigration that part of the island. Yeah, contraction made me think about French because they contract the shit out of words. Like when I definitely not neurotypical, okay, then if we get a straight white neurotypical man here, he will be considered a DEI hire. I have to severely tone down my dialect so people understand me when I speak German, to be honest. When you were sending me voice messages speaking German, was it the dialect or the toned down version? Talking about DIY hires, I think I do not have friends. Standard High German, not dialect. Record me in dialect sometime. I do not have friends that would be cis, white, straight man, neurotypical man. I have 0 friends like this. Oh, there was a person for this position, but then he found out he was actually autistic. So the position is free. It's vacant. White neurotypical men are probably not terminally online. Fair point, but it's also in real life too. Like the possible neurotypical. Well, actually, I met him on an app that was meant for, sexual encounters, but we just became friends instead. Neurotypical people in general probably aren't terminally online. Arguable, I think. But I do not have a frame of reference because I do not know do not talk to many neurotypical people. I know 1, 2 close. Like the girl that approached me at the gym. Okay, she would not be online all that much. To be honest, I feel like being neurotypical is a lot less common these days. Depends, Gen Z, even neurotypical people are terminally online. A lot, I think maybe online it's easier not to mask, one thing, and the other, like 10, 20 years before, if a person was neurodivergent, we would just not identify them as such. Yeah, thinking about it a little bit, I think you're right. Younger people are a lot more online than older people. Yeah. Even my it's 26. So even my 60 years old mother has an Instagram and downloaded VPN so that she could stay online. No, at least for Telegram. Honestly, there was no option except for get the VPN. Anyway, I guess it depends how you define terminal online. I think all those people who copy in the comments, this these very similar brain rot messages. I feel like brain rot is very neurotypical. Anyway, we ventured very far. Let's keep going with the video, which we totally forgot about it. Does anyone need any reminders? I think my mouth is tired from speaking so much.
Not about the trauma itself, but how you interpret that. Here, at least, he admits that traumas do define you. If you claim that it is decreasing your chances significantly and it is slowly becomes the reason why you are getting rejected, you cannot say traumas don't exist and it is all in your head.
So you're telling me that I need to work on myself, so I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to start meditating every day, I'm going to take cold showers. And they check these boxes and they go back out and they try to engage in romantic relationships. But at this point, they haven't had a romantic relationship for about 6 years, 8 years. They haven't really talked to people who they're romantically attracted to. And so despite doing all the right things, they still continue to fail. And so this is something that we really have to understand. And this is the crux of the problem with hopelessness and the black pill, is that the more you try, the harder it becomes.
And this is also why giving false hope, false information, telling men to take cold showers, smile, have a positive mindset, and all that mumbo jumbo is a bad advice. Bad advice that sets men up for further rejections, series of rejections.
And then there's another issue as well, which is that black pillars will be very critical, right? So they'll be very scientific. They're very logical people.
Well, thank you. And see, now we made headway.
If I'm being real, then
Thank
you
you.
can say I'm scared.
Thank you.
And it cites tons of papers on personality and mental stuff, race, looks, love, face, money, that sort of support the black pill view, okay? And these are all evidence-based, peer-reviewed studies.
I've seen all the data.
And these are all evidence-based, peer-reviewed studies. And the science is very, very disappointing. So this is why I haven't made much content about being bald, because I haven't found an answer.
Those words came out of my mouth, I guess.
And that doesn't just put them back to zero. It actually knocks them down a peg, because now an additional rejection or failure has traumatized you. So now you have this additional problem to solve. And so a lot of people may conclude, and very easily so, that the black pill is correct and I'm going to be this way forever. But in my clinical experience, this actually isn't the case.
But the BP is true. It is the truth. It is not hopelessness. It is all the studies that you just showed. The BP doesn't tell you everything must be 0 or 1.
But in my and very easily so, that the black pill is correct and I'm going to be this way forever. But in my clinical experience, this actually isn't the case.
But the BP is true. It is the truth.
You see, this is religious. This is not logical. I know there is relying on data, right? And there is some even reasonable data, like with the general treatment and of people based on height. Like, the difference isn't that big, but it's there, right? What I was talking about. Oh, right. So you've seen me launch those mind games. You've seen me ask, what would be the other options? What would be the interpretation? The problem with black pill is that it has one interpretation for everything. You see? Imagine there's God. I know, I feel like most of you, if not all of you, are not religious. I'm not religious, but I think this belief is religious, and black pill is the God. It's the truth, because even when the experiences can be explained in many other ways and seemingly have nothing to do with women don't like men in general. This would be the core, right? even this, if this does not come out naturally, they find a way to lead it to it. Like, they say women do not like short men, they don't engage with them. You show, like, no, there are many women who are with short men, they date them. Immediately you get dead bedrooms, right? Or they're just settling. These explanations come from the base belief that women do not like these men. It all stems from this point. That's why I say, like, if you choose what to believe, why would you choose this thing? Because this is not an observing reality. There's this thing called falsifiability. The point of it, like, it needs to be applied to all scientific theories. The point is that there can be a scenario in which the theory would be wrong. And then when you check this scenario, you can see if the theory is right or wrong. Like, for example, let's say I think the apples in all apples are red. This is my theory. Oh no, let's say this. Let's say my theory is that there are no blue apples. For this theory to be falsifiable, we need to just have one blue apple. If one blue apple exists, my theory is wrong. Now, if we find this blue apple, and instead of thinking, well, so my theory is wrong, we say, no, it's actually green apple. Or, this apple was painted. Or it changed color in the sun. Or it's not an apple, it's actually a berry that looks exactly like an apple. This becomes a belief because it's not falsifiable if you have explanation for any feasible counter-argument. Does it make sense? I feel like I'm explaining it in very difficult words. While solo and I'm typing, so I think mock religions are good at explaining the point because they are meant to mock this religious part of beliefs not being falsifiable. So Russell's tea kettle. This is a mock religion that says there is, a tea kettle in the space that's orbiting the Earth, but we cannot see it because it's small. It's too early for me to go to bed. I wish I hadn't answered, but to be honest, I gotta get going, so I will be leaving the chat. I will go to bed in an hour, but I will keep in mind that you sent me. Have a good day. Anyway, what we were talking about. So, Russell's tea kettle. No, Rami is going to have a good day. He's American. His day has just started. Anyway, so what I was saying is that Russell's tea kettle, the tea kettle that is orbiting the Earth. Let's say we scan all the orbit somehow successfully and the tea kettle isn't there. If we move from the base belief that there is tea kettle, we can then say, well, the orbit is just bigger than this, so that's why we don't get to see it. Okay, so let's comment. Yes, I think this is why nuance is important. Trends are not meant to be absolute. I understand this is where elementary black pillars go wrong. Elementary black pillars are more likely to talk about trends, and die-hard black pillars usually are the ones to talk about no hope. But what we immediately see is the rise of young male virginity, the increased selectivity on dating apps, hierarchy of perceived attractiveness based on genetic physical traits, increased wealth inequality, causing less relationship and family formation, etc. I'd like to think that some of black pill plays a part in this, but of course there are other things that can change, either within people internally or society externally, that can alleviate some of the issues. I agree that one should not immediately reduce all phenomena to black pill only. Okay, so what you're saying, what we immediately see is the rise of young male virginity, the increased selectivity on dating apps, hierarchy of perceived attractiveness, wealth inequality. So this, would you say this all leads to black pill as a view? Do you think this is explained by black pill? You should have just gone, enter the stage. that would be quicker. Partially because black pill behavior of selectivity based on looks can be accentuated by the current social status quo. But this is not to say this is because feminism exists or another reductive reason like that. You are again trying to predict what I say, my argument, just saying it's common, not that it's something wrong with you. It means there has been a shift for a number of reasons and society hasn't done enough to adjust. So, speaking about, for example, just dating websites, because this is dating websites, dating apps, because this is a big part of how Black Pill sees things. So, as someone pointed out, I recently heard, I kind of didn't think about it. Dating apps are inherently superficial. Like, you don't get to judge the person as a whole. The first thing you can see is how they look, if they show. It's encouraged. Even, on Tinder, it will suggest what photo to put first, or the algorithms will be less kind to you if people swipe left on the first picture and do not swipe more. Partially because the black pill behavior of selectivity based on looks can be accentuated by the current social status quo. But this is not to say this is because feminism exists. Oh, wait, I am rereading what you said. So, this also, the bigger audience on dating apps is men. What kind of behavior do we see on dating apps? Women get a lot of attention. This makes them even more selective, because without it, it would be like mass hiring process. And this is not what we want. So this enforces selectivity. And I think we even talked about it, kind of introduces the need to filter out on more superficial level. Like, again, Tinder introducing height filter. Because an analogy. So if you are a workplace that maybe is a blue collar workplace, no, let's say it's fast food worker. So you are a fast food place, you need to find a manager. And there are many people who apply. So you need to somehow filter out so that you don't need to process as many people, as many applications as you can, as many, as you receive without filtering. So you create an artificial filter that is, for example, getting education, even if you don't logically need a degree. Now let's imagine everyone gets a degree. You need to introduce another artificial selector, and this especially works if there if many people apply. So talking about jobs, I think job is a good analogy because it is also people applying, but there's only one position available. At least this is the scenario we're looking at. So people start applying to many jobs because there are many refusals. They have to, use AI to tailor their CV, and again, also ghost jobs, so they just mass send out applications. The jobs now receive a lot of applications and they need to filter them out, and they don't have HR, and there's no point in allotting as much time to it to process all the applications. So you again introduce an artificial filter. The same happens with dating applications. I just want to finish and then I will read Sala's comment. The thing about dating apps, here, my experience on specifically Pure, which I think is a good option. So Pure is a platform that is more sex oriented. I used it as a woman. Obviously, more men are interested in sex oriented relationships. This is the culture we were all raised in. So, by default, there are just more men, much more. The app introduces the filter. Men have to pay for subscription. Women can use it freely. Now, despite this payment they need to pay, there are still a lot of men who don't, get matches. So they start mass sending requests. So there you can see requests that you've been sent, and you can approve them, and you can look at the list of the users and send your own requests. So I have looked at my requests. There are like more than 100 applications. So women do not have the option to filter out people for free. So I do have did look through all the people, but I was, I'm very choosy, very picky. There are a lot of people who are from other countries who want to sext, and I am not interested in it. There are, of course, people who are not attractive to me. Also a no. There are people who are attractive to me, and sometimes I would admit much, and this person would, this is an insane strategy. So men mass send out requests, and then when you accept, then they decide if they want to actually match with you or not. So you may accept request, and they immediately leave the chat. Astonishing strategy. Then also I specifically wrote on my profile, and this is probably the reason I got banned, like I check their opinion on war in Ukraine. So when I had it in my profile, people saw it and they still did. I'm going like far away. I'm just yapping now. Yes, but unfortunately it seems like the majority of matches these days among younger generations are from online interactions. This is an example of black pill behavior being accentuated. Yeah, this is self-reinforcing behavior, basically. Perhaps in a more holistic, equitable, and down-to-earth society, this behavior would be lessened. I do see statistics that show these low-key factors can be less of a severe issue under the right conditions. For example, man is gainfully employed. What a interesting collocation. I haven't seen this. Maximizes emotional and social intelligence, etc. But unfortunately, I don't think that pathway is as practical as before. The leverage just isn't as much there as it used to be. Regarding your McDonald's example, yes, this is a good comparison and is a reason why I hate corporatizing and automatization of job applications. Overall, the working class, especially for the men who can't leverage, are you speaking about jobs here or not? Overall, the working class, especially for the men who can't leverage their innate desirability as an average woman could, is a problem because the world has become less equitable. I haven't seen a watch party get this late in my night. I mean, there's half an hour more, and then this would be the normal length for us. Maybe this is where we disagree. You might be more optimistic about the majority of incels being able to overcome this condition. I might lean more pessimistic. I view this inherently differently. It's a sign day here. Yeah, yes, not that late for me. Close, but not yet. Anyway, what does it mean, leverage their innate desirability? Cappy is like an episodic character. Comes for sometimes, makes his piece, plays his role, and leaves until it's his episode again. Well, this phenomenon is seen in a lot of things, both jobs and dating, wealth inequality representing K-shaped economy. I don't know what this is, causing cultural shift of less socialization and increased selectivity. Wealth inequality may have always existed, but I think before class cohesion and less technology helped more guys to be able to do reasonably well. Do you think women are innately more desirable at jobs? I think we should probably put this topic on the shelf and return to it a different time. We have only watched 10 minutes of the video. Should we finish it today? What do you think? I would like to speak about cope. It's possible, yeah. Maybe for HR and some other desk jobs, because the patriarchal conditions, corporations might prefer them for objects. The current education system in the way since seconded to more feminine learning style. What is feminine learning style? More patience required in sitting down, less hands-on learning, etc. Sorry, I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Oh, why do you think it's feminine? Like, less hands-on learning. This is the structure of education that was created for men by men. Like, the universities were not created with women in mind. Lessons were not created with women in mind. What you're talking about is men tend to be less patient, women tend to be more patient. And learning requires patience. This is not the problem with learning. Like, you cannot learn without patience. But it is about socialization that men and women go through. You're saying it. Women do better in education system, although select number of men can do exceptionally well. Because we as women are told to listen, to be compliant, to be patient, to be passive. We were socialized for this. Men are socialized differently, therefore they showcase different behavioral tendencies. So the system is not feminine. You know, ADHD, how it shows itself in men, in women, and women generally is different, because the same things that both of them experience, they deal with differently as children. Gender socialization starts very early. I've been seeing videos of a woman who's a feminist and she has a son who goes to kindergarten, and he comes home and he brings ideas from the kindergarten, like women shouldn't work, men should work, women are bad at working and they should stay home. It starts this early. Like the first time I got sexually harassed basically by my peers was when I was in kindergarten. And I don't think you would like to make an argument that men are inherently, biologically, whatever, meant to sexually harass women. Like, so this is how early socialization starts. We children grow out of, one cell to slowly form to become a full-sized human, and what's happening in their brains is also forming in this way, and what they learn, it starts very early. Children, as far as I know, children whose parents did not, would let them cry it out, this kind of children would grow up more socially anxious, more anxious. Yes, I agree, nature versus nurture argument will be hard to exactly pin down, but yes, of course, women are socialized to be this way to a considerable extent. I don't support reinforcement of stereotypical gender norms, but perhaps there is some level of biological proclivity nevertheless. The studies, the brain research shows that there are more difference between two individuals on average than it is before average male versus average female brain. You're slipping into bioessentialism, and this is like women are from Venus, men are from Mars. This is the problem, seeing men and women as different species. Think about this. Cats. Cats are very, very different. Oh, sorry. Much less, complex on a neurological, in terms of how their brain works, they're not as complex as humans. Can you judge the gender of a cat by its behavior? Cats do not have this gender socialization, so it's a good thing to check. I can judge based on if it's orange or not. I have been watching video of an orange woman. Well, we do not have this. Orange woman, orange female cat called Honey. She was very shut down. So anyway, so there are orange female cats, but that's not, the point, of course. The point is, even in less complex mammals, we see that the behavior between genders isn't strong, and sexual dimorphism in different sexes is not that strong. So, I mean, of course, there's hormones acting differently and that kind of stuff, but first of all, humans are being more complex. They have better chances of, overriding something biological. Like, the least biological thing is suicide. But we override our natural, instincts anyway. And sometimes we do it a lot. I miss my cat. Yes, I get your point that two individuals will likely be more different than completely the same, but perhaps this indicates how bad black pill can get with poor socialization. I do not understand this. Nature versus nurture will always be a tough argument, but I think we can at least agree on this. That if genders are socialized to be superficial and selective in certain ways, can cause black pill to be a worse problem than not. If we account for gender socializations, I would say black pill doesn't, work quite well. I would say Blackpink is Blackpink. It was destined to happen. I would say Blackpink is not adequate to reality. Is that K-pop? Yeah, it's a K-pop group. Anyway, before we finish, I would like to talk about cope. What is cope? This is not a rhetorical question. I'm asking you, what is cope? Maria. In regards to black pill, cope is anything you do to make up for any inadequacies you have, or whatever you do to deal with the harshness of life. Not bad. While Saul is typing, do you have a friend? Pet? Do you have a pet? Pet. Cat, dog. I'll get an answer from and then I'll read your message and respond. Yeah, I have 4 dogs. We have 4 dogs and 2 cats. You're getting a heavy. Where's my pet tax? You get twice the pet tax. You have to submit twice the pet tax everyone has to. Cope is something that is designed to reduce the pain from the current black pill situation of the individual. But there can be good copes and bad copes. Good ones usually are more sustainable and don't have the potential risk of eventual pain. Bad ones are less sustainable and have increased risk of eventual pain. So cope is a coping mechanism, and this is psychological terms being co-opted by being not just co-opted, bastardized sorry, by the black pill, not just black pill. The idea of cope is how you manage basically grief, like how you deal with the inevitable pain. Like you cannot, someone dies, how do you cope with that? Do you drink alcohol? Do you talk it out? Stuff like that. There are indeed good coping mechanisms and bad coping mechanisms. The thing is, you do not need to completely shut down the pain. The pain is inherent. You will experience it and you have to experience it. But you need to deal with this in a healthy way, in a way that doesn't damage your psyche. Black pill itself is actually an unhealthy coping mechanism. But black pill treats cope like it's a bad thing, like it's denying reality. That's why, like, when people say no, there is actually, like, people, again, sorry for referring to short people again, short people can have partners and they would say it's cope because they believe it's tricking the person. For the reference, just to counteract mentions of height, the last person I had sex with, I have actively pursued, and it was a man who is 170 centimeters in height, or Fabian, what did I say? Can someone make the eagle units for us for 1 meter 70 centimeters? Anyway, so you get it. Like, I do not hate short men. I actually prefer short men to tall men, but either way, I don't date men anymore. What I was talking about. Yeah, so you have to find healthy coping mechanism that would not be destructive. And Blackpink fuck 5'7" on link conversion tool says 5'7". You got it. Anyway, you have to take the negativity in a healthy way, and my view, my assessment is that people who end up in black pill do not deal with negative emotions in a healthy way, like rejection. You say it's brutal. The people in all the incels and all the posts I mentioned before were also talking about how these rejections are brutal. They should not be taken to heart. How do I explain it? It's unhealthy. Yeah, I think in this sense Healthy Gamer has a point, but I think he's too idealistic and speaks more to the black pill community being disorganized. I think Rehab's argument that potential trauma from overbearing rejection and disappointment can outweigh Healthy Gamer's strategy of hoping and thinking things will be alright. He did not put out this kind of strategy anywhere. Like Dr. K said, he believes most of his clients can practically succeed, and I think saying most is a stretch, maybe like a half, but I don't know. Oh, this is, maybe I was wrong. Okay. As I said, I think toxic positivity and toxic negativity can both be an issue. This is why I've been less attached to black pill communities over the past years. It just becomes too much. Even black pillers say it's not good to consume too much of it. Some awareness from them is good. So, trauma, what does it do to a person? It changes the way they view the world, right? So it's logical that changing the way you view the world again can kind of override the trauma. There are things that would not be healed, and trauma will still shape you in ways, but we are all traumatized in one way or another to different degrees. We just all need to deal with it in a healthy way. Why am I hungry at such a late hour? I need to wrap it up, guys. I'll say this. I have also been rejected, and I've taken it well in some cases, and in one case I did not take it well at all. I mean, I did not behave in a healthy way. Thankfully, my meds fixed that. I do have problems with my head. There's no question about it. And the worst part of it is that it was embarrassing. But most people will not be into you. So, of course, you will get more rejection than you will get acceptance. This doesn't define you. It's just normal. And taking rejection as something that defines you is actually unhealthy. Taking rejection as a fact of reality would be more healthy. I'm writing a script for a video where I talk about my experience and why I relate to incels loneliness. And I also talk about rejection I've experienced. You shouldn't take rejection personally. I think in that way Black people can help. I think it's the opposite. It's exactly specifically about taking rejection personally. Something is wrong with you that makes you undesirable, subhuman. Like Blue Bear must say it's your personality, bro, or your emotional intelligence. I have to say, problems with emotional and social intelligence seem to be very noticeable. I was, had an open mind entering these spaces, especially in last, months and stuff. But as I look at what's happening and look at your experience, we can look at Rami. Hey Rami, if you're watching, we know that he has severe problems with socialization, and also, of course, the effects of severe, I would say, childhood abuse he suffered. So this is to say that it's kind of your personality sometimes, but also you don't need to make it, pill-shaped all the time. People better say normies, I think. But I just don't personalize inherited looks. It's out of my control. But I don't like when blue pillars just completely ignore it as existing. Of course, personality might be a factor in that girl's decision, but the blue pillar often assumes more than actually assesses. Okay, so the blue pill you're talking about only exists because of black-red pill. They are what caused blue pill to, emerge as a phenomenon. So blue pill is a reaction, and they tend to overcompensate for the extreme negativity and the rigid views that Red and Blackpink have. But also, it's your personality. Isn't just, character traits. There are many different behaviors that don't necessarily even mean that you are more likely to be rejected, but sometimes it is that you do not successfully take the opportunities that are given to socialize, or that, this is not the way they see it. Of course, blue pillars, they just overcompensate. But like, if you cannot spot flirting, like as simple as that, you're kind of very unlikely to get a partner unless someone, first of all, recognizes that you just don't notice flirting, and it is not that you reject them by not responding to flirting, and they would have to interact with you in a way that would be obvious for you, which would be kind of like grab you and get you, metaphorically speaking. Horse impression. I should go to sleep. What would we like to conclude on? I see your point about some blue pillars overcorrecting. Not some. This is the whole, idea is overcorrecting. Ask the Fish. Interesting. I think we should watch it later. What if mom tells me since I was a kid, don't worry about being short, you're a nice guy, I'm sure you'll have someone sooner or later? Would that be considered blue pill before it became coined as an official term? No. Developing a nuanced worldview is too difficult, yeah. Extremism is much easier. I will not get into the question you posed now, because it is time to leave the party. Oh my god, this jump scare screenshot of Dr. K. So yeah, we will conclude on it now. Please look at the events on the server so you can keep tabs on what starts, because I made it regular. You can just press interested and be reminded. So in a way, in 9 hours, another meeting and we will continue our conversation. So you can save in your head, or maybe write down if you want, everything I put aside today. Good night. Yeah. Good night to Ayuna. And have a good day to you Americans.